Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to SevTech Ages. Now behind me you'll notice immediately that I haven't built much of anything, and that is because I've been prepping, and I'm actually recording this video early, and the reason I haven't built anything is because I actually kind of want to get the multi-blocks in here, namely the towers, so that I can visually gauge how tall they are, right? Because I'm going to have to work the roof around those. And so I need to see exactly how tall they are, where they're going to be at and stuff. So I decided to go ahead and just prep for this episode so that we can get the platform set up and laid out, everything up and going, and then I can actually build the roof on there. So that's why I'm recording early, so hopefully next episode we'll have a really nice roof on there. But but on the plus side, I'm ahead of schedule, so I will have plenty of time for building. So anyways, I have made this chest here. It's a fancy chest. It's a really nice chest. Inside of it, look at all that. It was painful. It actually, I mean, it's not that bad because I have pretty much endless steel at this point, endless iron, endless everything. So it wasn't too bad. But yeah, there's a lot of blocks here. There's a lot of prep. And this is the stuff that we're going to be using today. This is what we need to fill out the multi-blocks for this platform. So let's go ahead. Oh, I forgot to throw this. I was emptying out some crushers downstairs, and I forgot to throw this lead in here. So I was throwing it all in the auto system since I'm not using those crushers down there anymore for actually doing materials. So anyways, I did set up a capacitor bank system right here. This is basically 6 HV capacitors that feed into 6 more HV capacitors that feed into 6 more HV capacitors. Then all the outputs are out here. Now, one interesting thing I want to show you, and I know it was mentioned on the Discord that it could just be bugged pipes or bugged connections, but after the update, I no longer take damage from wires. And I'm not wearing Faraday armor, I'm just wearing standard armor. So, but it could be due to the update, so whenever we set up some cables today, I'm going to see if I can electrocute myself, just for fun. And see if it was maybe a change within the most recent update, a bug within the most recent update, or if it's just those cables that were already placed down, and then going into the new update. But anyways, lots of stuff here. Lots and lots of stuff here. The first thing that we are going to do is we're going to set up the actual steam turbines that are going to use the steam to produce power, because I need power before I can start distilling water. I need power before I can start distilling fluids. So I believe it's this line, and this is the alternators, I think. let me grab our engineer's manual and immersive tech steam turbine. This is the first thing that I want to make, is the steam turbine. So let's go ahead and set up our solar, or our projector, I mean. Steam turbine. Oh, and let's move this. So like right there. I would die if that like chest got destroyed or something. That's another reason I want to go ahead and use this stuff. Actually, let me go grab some cobble real quick. But I'd like to get these set up so that, just to make sure that nothing happens to that chest. Because the only thing I've had stuff disappear from is my backpacks. But I don't want to risk losing this stuff, to say the least. Actually, let's start with the alternators first. Yeah, let's start with the alternators. I think that would be a little bit easier to do that first. So, the alternator. Basically, whenever you set up the steam turbine, you need an alternator connected to the steam turbine. And that handles all the power coming out of there. And I want to start with that because placement is important. Okay, so let's go ahead and just lay out some cobble here, so we can work on this. And I'm going to go ahead and lay out some cobble right here so we have a flat surface. This is all going to be covered. And the alternators I'm actually going to put on this side because they're going to be facing the power, since they handle all the power and everything coming out of our turbines. So let's see, let's take a look in the book here. We need to make sure that this side here is what faces the steam turbine. So it's going to be the side with the radiator blocks. Which actually, that is perfect. Okay. And let's grab our, yeah, this one right here is our alternator line. And we'll just go ahead and lay all this out. That is high voltage coil blocks, yes. And actually, I think those go all the way up. Yeah, they do. And then we're going to need heavy engineering blocks right there, right there. And then we've got our more HV capacitors. I made just so many HV capacitors between the last episode and this one. And right here, is this, looks like a block of steel. Yeah, I think it's a block of steel. Yeah. Okay, and then our generator blocks, like so. And we're ready to form this thing. And I think we click right there. Yeah. Okay. It's backwards. Cool. Okay, we're all set. We're ready to form these. And I went ahead and set up both of them. So, right-click over on this side, the center heavy engineering block. And there we go. That is now set up. And right here, these little connections here are where the energy comes out of. You can see the alternator has an internal storage of 1.2 million RF. And there's 6 of these. That's why I've got the 6 HV capacitors. Because these things do produce a massive amount of power when you have enough steam pumping into the turbine to keep it running consistently. So that's the first part. And that's why this multi-block is super expensive. Because, of course, you got 2 multi-blocks and neither of them are terribly cheap. Of course, these 4 towers that I've got prepped here were pretty bad too. So let's go ahead and grab our steam turbine stuff. And let's set this guy up. This thing is a monster too. And we need to connect this end here into that. Okay, the redstone engineering block is right there to my left. So let's rotate this. And we'll put this thing in right there. Yeah, that's going to be perfect. And you can see that it goes right over to here and it kind of, there's one little space there. I'm going to use that for the pipes and stuff that are going to be coming up through here. So I wanted the extra space on this side. And this one may have a little bit of cobblestone that's visible. I can hide that away. It's not a problem. So there we go. And then just the scaffolding to finish out the first layer of this. And there we go. Alright, on to the second layer. I like to build these with you guys without you having to watch every individual block place. Because that would get a little bit redundant, I think. I really wish that there was a way within Immersive Engineering and its add-ons to switch, like in the case of this, like to flip-flop it. So that the redstone engineering block was, you know, on the same direction, but flip-flopped. And everything on the inside was flip-flopped. You know what I mean? So, like, over there, have the redstone engineering block on the opposite side of where it's going to need to go. So, I would really like that. That would be a really nice feature for Immersive Engineering to have. Alright, so here we go. The expensive part. Basically, it has like a shaft that runs down through the center of it that is entirely made up of blocks of steel. 10 blocks of steel to be exact. That's actually a lot of steel. That is a whole lot of steel. Because, I mean, you're talking about 180 steel just for that part of this. Of course, like I said, that's why we went with the blood magic stuff before we really got into like the steam. Because, you know, I mentioned setting up this power system like decades ago. But that's why we waited on it, because it is a very, very expensive build. This platform, in general, all the parts of it are just expensive. And we need fluid pipes there. We need fluid pipes over here. Still got 2 fluid pipes. I think there's like one that goes up at the top somewhere. That. Okay. Yeah, see, there's a fluid pipe that goes right up here. And then opposite that, right there. We're almost done. We are almost done with this monstrosity. And then we have radiator blocks that run down through there, and radiator blocks that run down through there. Look at that. We're about to have double steam turbines. Honestly, just making one of these things is like an awesome moment. And crafting 2 of them, and click that center, that steel bar that goes through there. And look at this. We have That super monstrosity. Yeah, I'm going to have to hide this cobblestone, but that's fine. Look at that. These things are really, really cool because they're, you know, they're just such a grand scale. And then whenever you see them running and everything, they're really exciting, I think. Really, really cool. Okay, so that is in place. Now what we need to do is we need to pump the steam into this super beast. So I think what I'm going to do... Let's see. Let me go make some fluid pipes. I've got the stuff prepped to make them. I just have to pop down there. Okay, so there's 80 fluid pipes. Probably going to have to make some more before it's all said and done, but that'll be fine for right this second. Alright. I love the scale of all this. Like, look at that. Wait till we get the towers in here. Like, that's why I wanted to get all this stuff in before I really started laying out the structure and the room and the building and everything. It's because I wanted all this available to work from, because it's the focal points of the room, basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect fluid pipes into this part right here, and then fluid pipes also over to here, and I'm just going to bring these down, and we'll bring them right down the center here, and then I'll end up hiding it with scaffolding. Okay, so, well, actually I'm going to right here. Let's pull these blocks off. Let's put a lever on the back of this so that it auto outputs, and we'll go ahead and just turn that on. And then what I would like to do is let's start pulling steam out of this. So if we just connect up, actually I'm not going to connect the top parts in just yet, just in case we have any pipes connect, and then I can, like right here, I'm about to have one connect. And I'm just going to break off this connection, like that. Just right-click it with the engineer's hammer. And then, let's see, we need to get a steam pipe ran over to here. It's going to be a big mess of pipes, I can already tell you. It really, really is. Like, there's so much going on down here. It's ridiculous. Alright, so let's bring these pipes over. And by the way, I did up the water. You can see I've got 4 Buildcraft pipes. I forgot to show you this. This is keeping up with the steam production. So, actually, I think that one probably just got turned on for a second, didn't it? Did it produce some power? Because I'm thinking that it did. Yeah. Look at that. The alternator's already filled up. Like, it didn't even take it like a second for it to fill up the alternators. Amazing. Amazing. Because that's like, what, 7.2 million RF? And it was like, before I even noticed the steam, like, in the time that it takes me to, like, place a fluid pipe and then right-click it, it pulled steam from one of these lines and pew, filled it up. It would have been, like, these 2 pieces. And maybe that, I don't know. But, I don't know. I don't know where they're all connecting, but... Alright, so let's just plug into that. And then that one's ready to go. It's plugged up. And then we need to plug up this one right here. This one, right here. This one will be a bit easier. Because we just have to bring it up underneath this one. Like that. Okay. So that's ran. And then I just have to plug them into the tanks. And they're ready to go. So, that. And look at that. Starting to run. It's producing power. It's not going to run very long because it literally runs for like all of like a couple seconds and it's filled on power. But whenever I plug up the this one's probably not going to run because it doesn't have anywhere to send the power. Nope. Here in just a second we're going to plug up these. Well, actually we're ready to plug them up right now. Before I do that though, I do want to change over to distilled water. Let's see, let me make another lever. And I can turn off the turbines so they don't produce any more power. Or actually, better yet, I should just be able to turn off this, and so it doesn't send any more steam. That's an option as well. Because I don't want it to keep sending steam over to these, honestly. For right now, because whenever we change over to this distilled water, I want to make sure that these get drained on water. So right now they're filling up. That's fine. That's okay. Because I haven't set up the distillery process yet. But we will here in just a second. Okay, so anyways, what I want to do is I want to plug up the HV wire connectors, just like this. Make a big old mess of these things. And then we're going to set up HV wire connectors there, and HV wire connectors there, and there. Okay, so each relay, let me see what a relay can send. I can't remember, because I know each connector can pull and move 4096 per tick, but the relay can handle a bit more than that, right? Yeah, it can move 32,768 on the relays. So I don't have to worry about the relay speed. If I have one relay that connects to this line, one relay that connects to this line, and carries the power over, that's going to be more than enough. So what I'm going to do is, let's build up here just a little bit, because I want to make sure it's above the walkways. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take and put a relay right there. And I think that's going to be the block that I'm going to use, because I'm going to bring some pillars up. And that actually lines up right in here. So, that's the plan at the moment. Could change. If it does, I'm going to have to connect a bunch of wires, but that's fine. And we'll put a relay on this side as well. And then, we should be all set to plug all this stuff up. So, HV wire. And connect that. Basically connect a huge spider web of cables to these. Okay, so there we go. That's all plugged up. And then, let's see, before I plug up to the alternators, because it's going to start pulling power, what I'm going to do, that is set to off right now. Hopefully it's not going to push steam. We'll find out here in just a second. It shouldn't push steam. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and pull up this whole water connection. Because I actually don't need these pipes. I'm going to have the pipes set up slightly different. And let's see, that is feeding into the east side, right? Yes. So let me pull up that. And that means all of these pipes need to go. And I can't really use vein miner because it's touching other fluid pipes. But I'm pulling all of this up because we're going to be changing over to distilled water. So, and that means I'm going to pull up these as well. And we're still going to leave this. We're still going to be using this. It's just we're going to be changing things up a little bit here. But we should have plenty of steam to produce plenty of power to fill up those HV capacitors. And then we'll have plenty of power to get ourselves jump-started on the distilled water stuff. Okay, so now I think we're all ready to go. So let's just go ahead and plug all this up. And I'm going to go ahead actually and shut off these turbines for right now, because I want to activate them at roughly the same time. So we'll do that. And then let's go ahead and just plug all this up. It should pull everything out of the alternator. It did. Great. Alright, so look at that. I already think it looks pretty cool myself. I like it. I like these big multi-blocks. And I've still got to put, I'm going to put some stuff down in here too, but like glowing blocks is kind of what I'm thinking, but I'll be working on that after this episode. So, man, it took so long to prep, but it goes so fast. Alright, so now we're ready to turn these things on. Let's turn the ignition and get these guys going. Like, look at all that. I love it. I love it so much. And if I touch these, okay, I do get hurt. I do get electrocuted. Pow. Okay, perfect. That is wonderful. And let's see, look how fast it's charging up. This is going to be, I will say, I mean, this is going to be our primary power system, so the biodiesel setup is going to take like a back seat to all of this. Once we get all the cables ran and get this system powering the whole like biodiesel and everything, this will be the primary, because I mean it's pretty much free power. I mean, what does it really take? It takes water, and that's it. It just takes water and a bunch of prep, pretty much. So I will say that once we get the boilers put in, because I am going to put boilers in, if the steam gets down and it's nighttime so the solars aren't running, then it will consume biodiesel. But it's still, I think it's more efficient even then than the biodiesel setups. So that'll be fine. Alright, so this is turned off right now. And I mean, that's what it filled up with, just what was in its internal buffer. Is it basically half filled 12 HV capacitors. Over halfway filled 12 HV capacitors. So if we flip this lever and get this party really started, it's going to start filling these up again, and you can see that they're all filling up at a decent rate. Look at that. I will say we're probably going to put RF monitoring, not on this section, but on the output section. I'll probably do some RF monitoring for that, because what I'm thinking is we'll have, you know, basically carry this out, so a relay goes out through here, a relay goes out over here, and then we'll have 2 relays that run through the base, and I think that's going to be fine until we get like a wireless power transfer, honestly. So it has officially filled 12 HV capacitors already, and it's kicking through almost halfway through the second batch of HV capacitors. And if we take a look here, the steam, it really doesn't consume that much steam. I mean, it's nighttime, so we're not producing any right now. And look at that. I wish these things made noise, though. I think that's the biggest drawback to them, because I like the immersive engineering stuff because it makes noise. These don't make any noise, which is kind of a bummer, but that's all right. So let's take a look here. All right, we have 24 HV capacitors filled, and now it's kicking through the last 12. So after all this is done, we'll have 36 filled HV capacitors just over here, and then of course over there I have like, I don't know, like 28 or something, like quite a bit. Honestly, I could expand this out and have just like HV capacitors keep coming out to like right here, and so whenever you walk in, you have to go through here. Oh, whoops. I've got to put fencing around this. I'm going to do that. That's why I have it a block open on the sides there. I'm going to put a fence for like safety. Safety reasons. I might even bring the fence up like maybe 3 blocks or something like that. Just to make sure that we don't touch it and get electrocuted. Okay, we are officially filled up on 36 HV capacitors. It's going to be the same over here. I mean, these are all filled up as well. And the alternator is already filled as well. So, I mean, that's a lot of RF. And honestly, I'm not sure how much of that I'm going to edit down, but it literally didn't take very long at all. Like a minute to fill these out. So, it's insane. And these have stopped. So, that's one of the beauties. I mean, they're fluid-based power. They're not going to keep burning through steam. I mean, they stop and they don't consume any steam. And if we take a look here to do that, we used up a bit of it. And like I said, we're going to have the boilers going as well. So if we're going to have it so that if the steam falls below a certain level, the boilers kick on and help the solar turbines. So if we have a huge influx of power usage going on, then those boilers will kick on and make sure that the steam kind of keeps up. But I think for the most part, these should keep up fine. Especially once we get distilled water, because it produces more steam faster with the distilled water. So, okay, so now we're ready to set up the distillers, which will be this. Yeah, this right here. This is for the distillers. Okay, so now we're ready to build out our distillers. And let's go ahead and set our projector to the distiller. And let's get on with this. And I'm going to want, let's see, I'm going to have one distiller sitting here, and I'm going to rotate it so that the front side, I can't remember, okay, right side is input, left side is output. That'll be fine. I would like to have it kind of flip-flopped. I kind of wish that you could, like, shift right click or something and, like, alternate them. You know what I mean? Like, alternate the inputs and outputs, but, oh well. That's okay. And I'm going to go ahead and build out all of these at the same time. So we're going to have, that's on the left side, yeah. So let's go ahead and get this built, because I'm going to build 6 of these at the same time. And then we're going to have steel scaffolding, like that. And I guess I could go ahead and do the fluid pipes as I go around. Okay, and then back around to here, and then we're going to have redstone engineering block, light engineering block, and then back here we have the sheet metal, like so. And I guess I could go ahead and place out all the sheet metal, like that. And then all we have left is the steel scaffolding, just 2 pieces on each of these, and then the multi-blocks will be done. Or these multi-blocks will be done. We still have 2 other new multi-blocks to build this episode. So, it's like multi-blocks for days. Alright, so there we go, and then we'll just right-click, there we go, the center block there, and we'll get our distillers. And look at that. This room is starting to come together right now, bit by bit. Alright, so I've got 2 distillers per tower. It may be overkill, but we're also going to be funneling some of that into boilers once everything's said and done. And basically my plan is, like, you'll notice with the towers, I mean, they weren't producing a whole lot with the water. They're going to produce a little bit more once we get into distilled water. But they still don't produce enough that if these were running like full speed that they would keep up. You know, they're just not going to do it. Even 3 solar towers feeding into one of these, I don't think would be enough to run it like full throttle all the time. However, with the boilers added in, I think it's going to be plenty, at least to upkeep us for a very long time. In through H5, a decent ways through H5, especially when you combine it with the biodiesel setup that's down there as well. Alright, so now what we need to do is we need to plug up water into this. Water's going to come in on the blue line right there. So let me run around, and I guess let me go ahead and bring these pipes down like that. Okay, now we should be set, and then I'm just going to run this over and connect it up right there, and then we'll do the same thing over here and just connect this up. See, I'm already getting low on fluid pipes. That's actually the last of them that I've got here. So I'm definitely going to have to make more just with the distillers. So there we go. That's all plugged up. And then I need to plug up this right here. And that is this output or is this input? It's going to be, that's input. Yeah, that would make sense because that's a water line right there. We're going to go ahead and just run this so that this is put back. And I'm going to go ahead and fill that in because it actually doesn't need to be open. And then we'll just run this over to there. Whoops. Connect this into there. And there we go. Now we've got water running through the system. And let me go ahead and set up our output routing node. I'm going to put it setting right. There we go. And we're going to say that the downline is going to be water. That's our fluid filter that was left over. And then I'm going to connect this back up. This is the one that we set up last episode. And I'll just connect it up to that master routing node. And so the node is plugged up, the water system is all plugged up. And if we take a look, the distillers should now have water. All 6 of them should have water in them. This one's filling up. And yeah, everything's good. And I mean, it's filling up at a decent rate when you take into consideration that it's splitting it across 6 distillers. Now, if I need to up water production, I can. That's not a problem. Honestly, I can up it without even adding a new setup because I've still got, down here, I still have 4 well buckets that aren't even being used at the moment. That should be good. And then what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to plug power up into this because these do require power to run. It's very minute compared to how much we're producing from the steam that's being produced. So before we do that though, I'm going to go craft up some wall mounts because I do want to use wall mounts here. I'm going to use steel wall mounts. So I'm going to go ahead and just craft up a couple of these real quick. I got our wall mounts made. I actually have 9 steel to my name. Yep. Yippee. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a wall mount setting, place that, and is it shift right click? Okay, there we go. That's what I want. We're going to have it setting right there, and then we're going to put a relay right there. And then I'm going to do another wall mount, and let's try to run power over between all of this. So that is going to connect to there. That is going to connect, and we're going to have right over here, we're going to have a HV wire connector. And I'm only going to connect it to one HV wire connector because it doesn't really need that much power for this stuff. I don't think. I think one HV connection is going to be more than enough. So we'll just connect that over like that. And then I'm going to end up doing the same thing on the other side as well. But I want to make the wires kind of come up and be out of the way. And I think the tower should be just fine. Yeah, should be just fine, I think. Yeah, I think so. It should be just fine to run through there. This tower right here would be the only one that might cause an issue. These back corner ones. I don't know. I can change the wiring once I get all this set up if it becomes an issue. But okay, so I've got the HV wire kind of ran around this room here on the outskirts, and then I'm going to set up, and actually I don't even need to run it this far back. So I'll just pull all that up. because basically I'm going to have a connector here. I'm going to have a connector right here, and then I'll have a connector right here, and then I'll have a connector on each tower. So really, if I ran the power over to just like right here, let's say, that should be good. And then just connect that over like that. There we go. That should be fine. Then the tower should be out of the way and everything. Okay, so now what I want to do, I've got this first side ran, and I'll run the other side off camera. I'm going to have to go and make some more. Yeah, I need one more relay, so I'll have to go make some more of those. But I have insulating glass on me, so that's not a problem. But what we're going to do is we're going to plug up our distillers. So I'll just run that one over like that, and then I'm going to run this one over like that. And these should be, there we go, they're producing distilled water right now. Yeah, and the water transfer can't keep up, so I may have to add more redstone engines. If so, that's not a problem. We'll just see how it goes. I don't know that I even need this many distillers, but I'm doing this many for looks, to be honest. So, okay, so there we go. We have everything plugged up, set up, and it's ready to go. Awesome. And these are all filled up with distilled water, and everything's ready to go. Everything's beautiful. Okay, so then what we're going to do, these things can also produce salt, which if I recall, salt comes out the back. I actually got a piece with the magnet. It's not every operation or anything like that. It just will occasionally, it'll produce some salt. So let's take a look here at the distiller, and I want to say that it produces salt out the back. Yes, that's item output is out the back side there. Okay, and it doesn't have any internal storage for the salt. It just chucks it out. So what we're going to do is, actually, let me go craft up some crates real quick. We're going to handle the salt, but for right now I'm going to put crates on the back so that it can collect the salt if it gets made. Okay, so we'll go ahead and for right now we're going to put just wooden storage crates on the back so that it can feed the salt into those. And I think that one piece was all that was created, unless some got made and tossed and I didn't catch it with the magnet and maybe it despawned. I don't know, but that's fine. It's basically just free salt. My uses for salt aren't as extensive anymore since we don't need it for leather. And it's not like I'm making dough, rice dough, any of that. So the items are handled, and then I'll just plug up input nodes and then connect it up to the main system. It's as simple as that. So probably won't even do that on camera. Just whenever I get around to it, once the salt builds up. So then what I want to do is I want to plug up these fluid, the distilled water coming out of this. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to just pump this above ground. So we're just going to bring it back. This one has to be brought back over like that. And then plug it into here. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up this block actually. Oh, can it... oh yeah, it can input from both sides. That's right. So we'll connect this right to there. And so this should start getting distilled water. There we go. And it's going to be producing steam. And then we'll do the same thing over here. Let me hide this right there. So both of these are going to be pumping in distilled water. You can see that it's pumping the distilled water in faster than this can produce steam at the moment. And it should be making a decent amount of steam. If we take a look here, this is with just one solar running at the moment. Yeah, it looks like it's using steam for making power. It's using steam, but a single solar tower is actually upkeeping... Oh, that's right, though. It's only using the power for the distillers right now. At the moment. I feel like I might want more distillers. I feel like... Or not distillers, but solar towers. I don't know. And then let me plug up these other ones as well. Yeah, I'm definitely going to need more water coming into these. Really, it's not going to be an issue at the moment. But long term, it will become an issue. So, we'll definitely have to sort that. But it is coming out positive on Steam. It's not as fast as it could be. But the boilers are going to make up for that. The boilers, these are basically just free. So, the steam production on them is kind of just, whatever. But once we start running this distilled water through boilers, we should see a good jump in the steam production. Okay, and that's pretty much it for those. And then we're gonna plug up these to the tanks here in just a minute, because we're gonna have the tank actually act as a midpoint. These are gonna feed into the solar towers and prioritize the solar towers. All the rest of the distilled water is gonna go into the tank and then be fed into boilers. So let's go ahead and set up the boilers then. And this will be the last multi-block that goes into the power system. Then we're gonna have to set up the 4 towers. Alright, so the boiler, here we go. This thing right here, let's go ahead and set our projector. And this thing does not require power. It does require biodiesel though. So just a heads up. The front side is right here. So I think I want it setting like right here. So let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to have scaffolding like that. And then we're going to have fluid pipes that run through the center. And that's the first layer. And it's 2 crag rock out. There we go. And then above that we have sheet metal. Lots of sheet metal for this. And then heavy engineering blocks go right there. Redstone engineering block right there. And the rest of this is all sheet metal all the way back. And then up here we have more iron sheet metal like that. And then we have fluid pipes that run down the center. And that is a completed multi-block. So let me go put this one together real quick. And there we go. Let's go ahead. I think it's this block. No. Or is it the center? I think it's, yeah, there we go. That's right. And it has to be on, I think, this side. There we go. There is our boilers. And these things, you can actually open them up. This is where water goes. This is where biodiesel or diesel goes. And then right here is where the steam is output. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and set up the tank that's going to store the distilled water. So what we'll do, we'll go ahead and just bring our pipes up right here, just like on the other side. And they're going to plug into the top of this, right there. And then let me pop down here. Actually, let me break off the top real quick, just in case something gets plugged up to it. It doesn't start like pumping in steam or, you know, something weird into the tank. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to break this open here, break this open here. And what I want to do is then, after it hits the solar tower, I want to bring the pipe down. So it's going to prioritize the solar tower. It's going to prioritize whatever's closest. And then all the other distilled water is going to pump over to the tank. That's how we're going to do it. So let's go ahead. Oops. I did not mean to put it right there. Go ahead and just plug this up. And let me do this on each of these. And actually I'm going to have to flip-flop these because this pipe is in my way at the moment. Okay, so there we go. I just flip-flopped it over, put the insert pipes over there, the pipe that runs through that collects the water over there, and that should be good. Okay, so then I'm going to continue plugging all this up. Okay, I've got all of that stuff connected up, and then I'm just going to run this line over. This is the line that's going to connect into our distilled water tank. So we'll just do that. I'm going to plug it up right there. And then I've got to bring this line over. I'm probably going to have to go make more pipes again. I actually just made more pipes, but I'm probably going to have to make even more. Okay, that's all connected up, and then we're ready to plug up into this tank now. So if I drop that, we should see, look at that distilled water rising. Done. There we go. We're building up on distilled water. Now I will say, I mean, right now this thing's not, it doesn't do great on steam because like once nighttime hits, it drops. But it's still a slight positive. I feel like these distillers, I don't know if they're really worth the power consumption because they do consume, like I feel like the solar towers, it might be better just to feed them water than distilled water because by the time it processes it, I don't know. I'll play around with it a little bit, but I know I want distilled water for the boilers. Let's go ahead and get this thing plugged up. Now that the tank is filling up with water, what we're going to do, let's get a lever first. And we'll put this on the back of this tank. And then let's go ahead and break this off. Oh, my magnet's turned off. And we'll go ahead and set this up for pipes. And we're going to run this out. I need to bring the pipes over to here, basically. And so we'll bring that up, and then on the other side as well. And I'm just going to have a separate pipe. Well, there's actually a pipe right there. Okay, I'll have to fix that. I'm going to go down there and fix that real quick. But what we're going to do is we're going to have the pipes that come out of here. This one's going to come over to this boiler, off in this direction. So I need to run it over to this point right here. There we go. That one's connected over. Actually, really wasn't that bad. Now this one over here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and bring this pipe out. Okay. This one should be plugged up now too. It's a big just maze of pipes at the moment. I mean, I could probably make them a little bit cleaner, but that's why I've got that underbelly, because I just want to hide it away and forget about it. Like, leave it there. Okay, let's make sure our boilers didn't get any fluids or anything they shouldn't have, but just want to double check them. They look good over here, and then over here, yeah, I mean, I don't even have them plugged up yet, so that should be fine. Then we'll just connect that up to there, and that one's already connected. So then if we hit this lever, oh yeah, I gotta connect that up, connect that up. And how are we doing on the distilled water? 80,000. I'll go ahead and hit this lever, and it's going to go ahead and pump the distilled water over to here. And it should be pumping it over to here as well. There we go. I did notice in my test world, I don't know if it... In this pack, it doesn't seem like standard water can go through the boiler. Standard water can go through the solar towers, and it's possible I may end up changing those to just use water and then have the distilled water just for the boilers. I don't know, because it does use a bit of power, so I don't know that it's necessarily worth the cost for the steam production. I mean, we're still coming out positive, but it's not as positive as if we were just running water, you know? So I don't know. I'm going to give that some thought. But I also know that I need more water pumping into these, for sure. So I'm going to have to speed all that up, which is fine. That's not a problem. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to go get some biodiesel from our biodiesel setup. And if it comes down to it and I need to make like a secondary biodiesel system, I will. But for right now, I'm going to feed off of this one because, like I said, this is going to be more... The steam's going to be more of our primary power system once everything's said and done. Alright, so let's get ourselves just a couple output routing nodes, and then I need a couple fluid filters. And we're going to say that the west side is going to have a fluid filter, and it's going to take... Oops, it's going to take biodiesel on both of these. There we go. And if I was to take and throw a bucket of biodiesel in here, you could see that it quickly runs together with the distilled water and it creates steam. So almost 900 millibuckets of biodiesel makes 1050 millibuckets of steam. So I'm hoping our setup will keep up. If anything, I may need to add, you know, more potato crops, more industrial hemp. We'll see how it all plays out. But right now, I mean, I'm not using the biodiesel that heavily, in truth. Okay, so then what I want to do is I want to connect these up over to here. And I'm going to have the master nodes setting like right here. Oops. We'll have the master node setting on the entrance to this bridge. And we'll go ahead and set up our input routing nodes. I'm going to put one right here. And we're going to say that the upside... Oh, that redstone may interfere with it, though. Chances are it's going to. Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up... so that we don't have to worry about that redstone interfering, I'm going to bring this over to like, yeah, right here will be fine. And then let me grab one of these BC factory tanks. and we'll just pump it through the BC factory tank. So it's getting that, and then we'll set this up. We're going to say that the north side, let me get fluid filters here. 2 of those. North side's going to get biodiesel, and then the west side is going to get biodiesel. And then we'll just connect that up, and then we'll grab that connection, and we'll go connect this one up. And you know, it's possible with the water systems I may have to, I may have reached like the transfer limit on it, so I may have to split those water pipes up. If so, that's fine. That's not a problem. Okay, I'm going to try something because this is not wanting to do this correctly. Let me try putting a liquid hopper right there. And do the output writing node setting there and the filter as down. Because it may not, they may not want to feed directly into it for some reason. There we go. Now it's pumping in there, it's producing steam. I feel like I could... Well, actually, we're going to be getting speed upgrades in the next stage. So this will be fine for now, and then I can put speed upgrades in here later and up the steam production with that. So that'll be fine for right now. This setup, this is big enough, and this is actually my first time ever really setting one of these up. So if I need to make adjustments to it, that's fine. I'll make adjustments to it later as things come up. Like I can already tell I need to up water production and probably maybe change the solar towers over to use regular water instead of distilled, because I don't know that it's really worth the power cost. I think the distilled water will be great for the boilers, but I don't think it'll be that important for doing it through those solar towers. I don't know though. We'll see once we get everything up and running though. Okay, so we should be producing steam through both boilers. Not the fastest, because it's waiting on this thing, which is super slow without the speed upgrades. But hopefully that'll be rectified in the next stage. So we've got steam coming from the boilers, and then what we need to do is we need to pump the steam out, which is actually right here is where the steam comes out up through the top. So let's go ahead. I'm going to have to make more fluid pipes. Of course I am. Of course I am. I'm going to have the pipes actually come out, I'm thinking right here. And then the pipe on the other side, give me a pipe there, and then it's going to come down right there, I think. Oh, you know what? I don't know why I didn't think about this. It's kind of like a duh moment, but... oh, can you not pick this up with carry-on anymore? I guess not. I'll just set these right back here for right now. Let's do that. And let's actually instead just have a fluid pipe that plugs in, because this should feed down into the fluid pipe, and it should be a lot faster that way. So we'll just do that. That should work. These are backed up right now, but... okay, so let me pop back down here. I need to get these all plugged up. And basically, I just need to plug them into this pipeline that runs through here that has the steam. And there we go. That should be good. Oh, I can't get out here now. That's okay. Let me pop up here. And we should be able to plug that up, and we should be able to start pumping the steam out of the boilers now. And... all should be good. So we'll just bring this up. Just trying to connect like every possible thing here. There we go. Okay, so that should be able to pull out all the steam, I would think. But it's not. So something's not plugged up somewhere. Okay, this one's pulling out the steam. This side is. But this one over here is not. So something's not plugged up down there. Let me pop down there and find out what's going on. Oh, I didn't plug this one up. There we go. There we go. And now it's draining the steam out of there. Perfect. So if we take a look here, we should be producing positive. Well, it's going to be producing positive because this is backed up. But we should stay at a positive on steam. Yes, that's a bit better. It's still not great. It's still not great, but I think it's due to there just not being enough water in this to upkeep it, because it's still a little bit slow on that end. But I think, like, if I go sleep, and it's daytime, and I have all 3 solars running, plus the 2 boilers running, let's see what the steam production is like then. Hopefully it's a little bit better. Like I said, I'm going to keep playing around with the system. It'll be next episode before it's finalized. I'll go ahead and tell you. Because I know we're just about to wrapping up point. And might even be over wrapping up point. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, see, it's steadily going up. But it's fighting it so bad at the moment. But I think if I change these over to use just water, that's going to help a lot. And then if I have more water pumping into these, I think it's going to help out a lot. It's only able to tick some distilled water out, you know, every so often. So, and this is steadily draining on distilled water to keep the boilers up and going. And I want to see what biodiesel's doing. I can tell, I think I'm going to need like an on-site biodiesel or a biodiesel pump line because it's not keeping up on the biodiesel over there. Yeah, these just aren't pulling fast enough. Because they're not as fast as the fluid pipes. I mean, I could put like another routing node like here and here. And maybe use like an additional 2. That might be alright. I mean, it's keeping up fine on seeds and stuff, so that's not a problem. So, I don't know. I'm going to play around with it and try to optimize it a little bit more between episodes. And next episode, we'll kind of finalize it and we'll get a good system up and going. I mean, right now, it's still producing really good power. But the thing is, like, these distillers take a lot of power, it seems like. But the boilers won't... in my test world, I couldn't get the boilers to work with standard water. I could put it in there, but I couldn't actually create any power with it. So it seems like these have to have the distilled water. Those we can just use standard water in. So we'll change that over and that's going to help a bit. But anyways, before we end out the episode, one thing I do want to do is I want to go ahead and get these towers set up. Because I want to spend a bit of time between this episode and next episode building. So let's go ahead and get these things set up so that the last of our multi-blocks will be in. We're not going to actually get these things plugged up yet. Because I definitely don't want to put a strain on power. I mean, I know I can produce power without issue, but I don't want to pull any power until this system is a little bit more stable. And actually, one thing that just dawned on me, this thing produces what it produces based on the torque. So one thing that we probably could do that would actually probably help out quite a bit is plug up these. Like all 6 of them, instead of just plugging it into one line, because I'm only pulling the created power from this out of one line, but I think it's still consuming the same amount of steam as if we had all of them running. I believe that's how that works. So like I said, I mean, this is my first time. I mean, I've set this thing up and played around with it in a test world, but I've never actually, you know, built one in a world before. This is my first time with it, so. Okay, we'll just plug it up like that. Like all these come up here into this relay, and then I can run that relay power down and have it sent down along through there, I think is what we'll probably do. And then we'll connect up this side as well. And that should be a little bit better, I think, if we have it feeding off all the power. Oh yeah, that's going up a lot better with the distilled water. That was the problem then. That was definitely the problem, was running it only through one of those. Was basically only, I was producing 1/6. I was using 1/6 of the power per bucket. Like I was actually only getting like 1/6 power production. So the steam was, in essence, it was barely going up, you know. That's much better. It's still kind of struggling, but I think I'm still gonna play around with it. I mean, I think a lot of the issue at this point is probably water based, because I mean, I just don't have any distilled water in there, don't have any distilled water in these, so I'm gonna have to up the water production. I may stick with the distilled water since it's working a lot better now. So yeah, I just wasn't utilizing, because this thing, it produces if there's power that can be sent out, basically, if there's any power that can be sent out, it's going to spin up and it's going to produce however much torque, you know, that it's running, like that a bucket is producing or steam is producing. So it's going to be producing that much power, but I was only using a sixth of that was coming out because it's going to equally feed that between all 6 alternators. Whereas the diesel engines, they will actually split it between like connected ones. This one, you know, I've basically got to use that. So anyways, that was the problem. My bad. That's a bit better. If we fix the water problem, this should be a lot better off then. Okay, but before, like I said, before we end out the episode, I want to go ahead and set up our towers. Just really, really quickly. So let's oil processing, distillation tower, and then next episode we'll actually use this system. The new towers and stuff. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. These things are big, by the way. These things are very, very large. Alright, so that's the first layer. And it's 2 heavy engineering blocks. I'm actually just going to set these up one at a time because these are a little bit larger. And I think it'll be a little bit easier to do it this way. And then our first layer of slabs. Right. Steel scaffolding slab, does it not go there? Or do I need to use the other slabs? Let's find out. It's not displaying it as being wrong, so I think this will be alright. It has the other slabs displayed, but I don't think that you have to have those. Yeah, it seems like it's accepting it just fine. Alright, we're at another slab floor. This thing is big, right? Like, it's going to tower above everything else. But I kind of want to go ahead and get this thing put in so that we can see this room in all its glory. Even though it's not all running just yet, we'll be able to see it as it was meant to be seen. And a third slab floor. It just keeps going and going and going. I love this multi-block though because it looks really good. It really does. Because it's honestly probably one of the best looking multi-blocks, I think. No, I don't want to do that. There we go. And you can see that it's still coming up. The actual platforms though have stopped. This is as high as the platforms go. So, and that, and then one, I think this is the last layer. Yes, there we go. Okay, that's how tall it is. Like, that's why I wanted to go ahead and get this thing put in so that I could kind of get an idea of what I'm going to be building around. And then we'll just right click. I think it's, well, where is it? Back here maybe? No. Right here. No. Redstone engineering block. Okay, I'm gonna have to check the book. I'm not sure where I click. And it says it's formed by using the engineering hammer on the redstone block. That side of it. Okay. There we go. Is that how I want it set? Or do I want to rotate it? You know what? I think I want it rotated. Because I actually want the redstone. I wanted to have the redstone block facing here. Whoops. Luckily, most of this is all identical. So I can just pull that up. I can turn it and have the fluid pipes here instead. Okay, so there we go. That's how I wanted it. And you can see there's a ladder on the side here where you can actually climb up this and like go to the different floors and everything. So, and then you got this pipe here that's like distilling all the fluids. And if you open this up, you can see this is what it looks like. Fluid comes in right here, and then it gets separated into the different fluids, and then we can pump it out. And right here is where the bitumen will come out, which we'll get into that next episode. This is your fluid output that outputs all the fluids. This is your fluid input. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and set up the other 3 of these just off camera, and I'll be back here in just a second. Okay, we are done with it. This took a little while to set all these up, so there we go. That's the last one. And if we come over here, let's go on this side. Let's take a look at, actually pop up right here. Look at that. It's a big difference from last episode, right? We have like this super, almost like super factory going on up here, which will be liquid and power based factory. So fun times. We got a lot set up this episode though. Like that is a ton of stuff, to say the least. And it feels really active, especially with the moving parts there in the center. I do quite like that. So awesome. Next episode, because I know it's wrapping up point. Actually, it's probably a bit past wrapping up point, looking at how much footage I have. Next episode, we are going to first start off by making any changes. Well, I'll update you on the changes, and we'll do any on-camera changes that need to be done to the Steam setup, just to kind of optimize it. Because like I said, I'm going to play around with it a little bit in my test world and a little bit in this world, just kind of messing with things. Yeah, the biodiesel is definitely the problem point right now. I may actually set up a dedicated biodiesel line. We'll see. So I'll make some updates and fix some things. Up the water production, up the biodiesel. I don't know if I'll bring a pipeline over or if I'll just set up a dedicated one. I'm not for sure yet. And after we get done fixing, like making some changes, going over that stuff, then we're going to get back into fluid stuff. We're going to work on the towers. We're going to set up, 2 of these are going to be for one set of processing, 2 more will be for the second set of processing. So we'll get all those fluids knocked out. Then we'll get into modular machines and get the fluids done on those. It sounds like a lot, but it's actually fairly quick because it's all like pretty much like wham bam. And then we'll get into, after that, I mean, once we get done with that, it'll be getting our plastic stuff, and I believe that's what triggers age 4. So probably next episode we'll probably hit age 4. And then the following episode is going to be a servitor. So that is the plan for the week. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you guys have any questions or anything, do let me know, and I'll do my best to get those answered for you. Hopefully this will be all a little bit more optimized come next episode. So it's a big setup, so I figured it was probably going to take over the course of maybe 2 episodes to get everything, you know, kind of sorted and whatnot. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope to see you guys next time. If you guys did enjoy it, be sure and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. And hopefully there'll be a lot more building and stuff done now that I know where the towers kind of go up to and whatnot. I have those, you know, put down and everything. So anyways, until next time, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.